Hello and welcome to The Big Fight. In these days of national crises and national calamities and all sorts of really important things that everyone should be discussing, this nation has actually been spending a lot of time thinking about austerity, and maybe that's not entirely a bad thing. It started off, of course, with the Congress party, got an added fill-up thanks to various Twitter comments on cattle class. And now we're asking a question on The Big Fight. Are we going overboard with the austerity drive, or are we not going overboard enough? Do all of us need to become austere? All right, let me just welcome all of our guests out here. Joining us from Mumbai, Prahlad Kakkar, noted ad filmmaker. Prahlad, great to have you with us, and we see that in a gesture of austerity, you've ditched your hat, which you normally wear on these shows. We presume you're being austere in that.
Generates too much heat.
All right, fine. Also with us, Sudarshan Iyengar, whom I think has to be said is one of the country's top Gandhians right now, somebody who actually practices Gandhian beliefs. He is the Vice Chancellor of the Gujarat Vidyapeeth, and it's great to have you with us.
Thank you.
Next to him, Deepak Bhardwaj, who is a BSP candidate from West Delhi. You are either the richest politician in India, or if that's not completely clear, you're certainly the politician who pays the highest amount of tax, or one off anyway.
I'm a farmer also, and I have assets more than 600 crores in Delhi.
Jayanti Natarajan, who has been leading her party's charge on austerity of all sorts of forms. Jayanti, you're looking uncomfortable in that chair, but I'm sure you would be getting used to it. This is NDTV's version of cattle class, those chairs that you're sitting on right now. I regret to inform you. Dilip Cherian, you don't believe in austerity?
I'm a great believer in austerity, but it has its place and it has its appropriate dimension, I believe.
Is that chair austere enough for you?
Are you referring to my posterior or my austerity?
Either. Okay.
It's austere.
It's austere. All right. Jaya Jaitley. Of course, you've been around in politics for a long time, former President Samata party. Why don't I kick off this entire debate with you? Do you think the Congress party is going overboard in the austerity drive, or do you think all of us need to be more austere to start with?
I would rather use the word simplicity, actually, because if you have simplicity as a state of mind or a way of life, then your being austere or not is a question of personal choice of what you exactly do. But we are talking about austerity, and the Congress is talking about it as if it's a flavor of the month. That as long as it doesn't rain, everybody will go economy class, and the minute the rains come down and it's Diwali and everybody wants to spend, everybody will hop back happily into their business class seats. And I think that's very temporary, very hypocritical, and that's the reason why nobody is actually accepting it.
Okay. Dilip Cherian, are we going overboard with this austerity drive? I mean, is it something which we should be focusing on so much?
I think the issue ought to be actually corruption and not austerity. The reason why parties are anxious about this issue is because I think there is an undergrowth. In the undergrowth, the jungle drums are saying they're spending too much, it's visible, where is it coming from? And I think there's that issue. People are ducking it at the moment, but I think that is really what the pinprick is about.
Jayanti Natarajan, are we almost diverting attention from other issues such as how to spend money better, as to how to deal with corruption, as to do all of that, with this very showy illustration of, oh, let's all fly in economy class and let's travel by train, and that doesn't really at the end of the day solve the major problems, and the problems, as he's saying, are wasted at grander and greater levels elsewhere.
I'm really glad you framed that question in that way, because that was what I was going to directly address.
Tuba.com